Kathy Canizero. I am an outside sales agent with the Home Gurus of Keller Williams Realty.
And I'm Lolita McLean. I am a transaction coordinator for the team.
And transaction coordinator, in case you don't know what that is, once we get you under contract, which we will, we pass the baton over to Lolita and she takes it through the closing, all the way to the closing table. Of course, outside sales, I'm always involved. She makes sure we meet deadlines, make sure all the paperwork and the paper police are not on us all the time. So she gets us to the closing table. She's a very important member of what we do here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I have some exciting news, as I'm going to be a first-time grandmother come September for a little girl, and have all boys, so this is just so exciting for me. I cannot wait.
I tell her all the time I have 16 grandchildren, so I cannot wait for her to have her first one, so we'll have a lot in common, and there's nothing like being a grandma, so it's very exciting.
So inside and outside of work, we make a good team.
We do. We've got, I think, 9 closings on the book right now. Me and her together. Of course, she handles transactions for a lot of other agents too. But it's a very efficient way to work, and we love it, and we work really good together.
Okay, we ready for lunch and learn with us?
Yeah.
Okay, so today's topic for the day, the market, 2 of the factors that impact mortgage rates. Will a silver tsunami change the 2024 housing market? And housing market update with the inventory.
And start out, the market's pretty strong. Interest rates have fluctuated a little bit in the last week or so. I think everybody will be ready for them to kind of stay where they are. But of course, 2 things that are going to affect that is going to be the GDP. That's one thing, the gross national product and the gross domestic product, and the growth rate, economic rate, and of course employment. And of course the other thing is inflation. So we do, inflation is kind of a factor right now that we're watching, but when that starts to, it's a different market than it was 2 years ago for sure, but it's a more even market, which is good because it's not just a seller's market or a buyer's market, it's a more even market. Then the next thing, the silver tsunami. So do y'all know what the silver tsunami is? That's baby boomers that are coming of age to either retire, downsize, or unfortunately pass away, which I'm a baby boomer, so I don't really like that term, but it is true. So they're guessing that there's going to be thousands of properties in the next few years that are going to come on market because of the silver tsunami. So absolutely, that will affect the housing market. I don't know how much it'll affect it in 2024. It's going to start, but it's going to go on probably for the next 10 years. So that is important. The housing market update, well, the inventory has picked up. I think we're about 1,500 in Mississippi, and I think it's 3,500 in Tennessee.
Yeah, there's more
in Memphis. There's definitely more in Tennessee because there's more per capita. But there is more inventory, so that's definitely a good thing. Okay, to the next screen.
Okay, so frequently asked questions. How do demographic factors such as population growth and migration influence the housing market?
Well, demographics always, location, location, location. So people are always going to want to go where the action is. Right now, South Haven is booming. Part of it, Silo Square, and all the stuff coming on around it. A lot of times the millennials and the Gen Xers, they love that kind of thing. So this has opened up a whole new opportunity for people. There's really DeSoto County in general, and also Tate County. Tate County, Byhalia area is on the rise for sure. And then we do have migration. There are a lot of people are moving into this area, and some of them are moving out of Tennessee into the area, but then again, some people are moving from Mississippi to Tennessee. So us being so close to each of them, it's still a booming market.
What are the current trends in home renovations and remodeling, and how do they impact the overall market?
Well, one thing, I don't know that there's as many trends, honestly, as there used to be. I think people are kind of doing their own thing, which is good. I have seen the open concept that everybody wanted. It's kind of both. Some people still want it, some people don't. But the good news is there's plenty out there for everybody. You can get it if you like the open concept. I will see things are kind of transitioning from the grays. They're not necessarily the norm anymore. There for a while, everybody wanted the grays, right? The white cabinets with the gray flooring, the gray walls. And it's more opening up to color. Wallpapers kind of coming back in on feature walls. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because back in the day when we had the wallpaper borders, no thank you. But I do like the idea of feature walls and giving and putting your own spin on your style and letting your homes tell some things about you. I like that a lot. So.
How do changes in interest rates affect the affordability and demand for housing?
Well, the interest rates, that's kind of where I think why we're where we are right this minute. It does make a big impact on it. Back a year and a half, 2 years ago, 275 people were getting, right. 325. That's the difference between a $1,100 house note and now at 675 to 7. Probably more like $1,800 house note. So it definitely does play impact. But the good news is there's plenty of lenders and there's plenty of opportunities for buy down. Sellers are doing buy downs to help buy down points on the behalf of their client. New construction, the builders are doing buy down points on behalf, so that when the late rates do go down in 6 months to a year from now, you can always refi at the lower rate, but it helps you at least get into the house. And that is a big factor because it can make a difference in your house note, but it still beats renting. Don't get me wrong. At least you're going to build equity in your home.
Right. That's very important.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Are there any specific types of housing, such as affordable housing or luxury properties, that are in high demand at this time?
Well, I think there's definitely affordable. There's new subdivisions popping up all the time that are affordable, and it's just in what lifestyle you want. I mean, if you can afford the luxury properties, go for it. But there are things. In fact, I think let me look at my cheat sheet right now. The average price of a home in DeSoto County right now is $336,900. That's the average. So there is something out there for everyone, because I know there's some new construction that keeps it. Actually, there's some new construction in Horn Lake right off of 301. Actually, I think it's Walls. And they're under 300, and that's for new construction. So yeah, and then of course you've got some of the higher priced areas that are in excess of 500, but they're beautiful homes. So there's something for everybody out there.
Definitely, and you're the gal to go to.
Yeah, yes, I do.
You can find them.
We can find them. We can. We can.
How do changes in employment rates and job growth impact the housing market?
Well, when people are employed and when they're making good money, of course, they're apt to spend more money on a house note. So that's always going to be job growth. Also, people are moving into the area. Take Memphis, for example, with the Ford plant coming in. I've already had a lot of calls of people coming into that area, in the area where the Ford plant is. So they're going to have housing out there. So that's going to impact that a lot. Even people that say they're moving out of Memphis, there's some northern parts of Memphis where I think the Ford plant's going in the Drummond's area.
I think so.
Yeah, so that area is going to be moving pretty soon, and Millington is coming back on the rise too, for sure.
Yeah, we see a lot of Millington right now.
For sure.
Okay. What are the current trends in housing preferences, such as eco-friendly or smart homes?
Well, I think most all the new homes are smart homes, and just what I mean is you can control everything pretty much on your phone.
Oh, yeah,
even I've even got an oven where I can start it on the way home from the grocery store for the frozen pizza I'm about to throw in because I don't like to cook. So yeah, things like that. I think the smart homes are the norm. I think that's pretty much standard now. So yeah.
How have housing market dynamics changed due to the rise of remote work and flexible work arrangements?
Most people want a home office. I will say that right now. I think formal dining rooms are really not quite in demand anymore with the younger generation. They're okay with a game room, but the formal dining room is kind of like, we don't care if we have one or not, but we really need a home office. So the trend from a 3-bedroom, 2-bath is definitely more of a 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom, using one as a home office, because people have found out they can work from home and do just as good a job. And it's really honestly a good thing, especially for young moms or things like that the kids still go to daycare, but if they have to stay home with the kids because they're sick or something, they can still do it from home. So
and I enjoy having my remote.
Exactly. And yards, people don't necessarily need big yards, but they want some yards.
So. Right. Let's see. Are there any specific challenges or opportunities for first-time home buyers in 2024?
Well, the challenges are to find an affordable home, with the average being, 336. More of the challenges is the higher interest rate is going to cause a higher higher house note.
Right.
And because it's a more even market, the sellers aren't as quick to help with the closing costs anymore. So the buyer has to come up with the down payment, which is 3.5% or 5%, depending on what type of loan. They have to usually have their own closing costs as well. So that's definitely been a challenge for some. The lender restrictions are not, they're tight. They're not really, they're maybe a little bit tighter than they used to be, but it's definitely doable. So those are the challenges, but the opportunities are the lenders have programs for first-time home buyers. Not even, you don't even have to be a first-time home buyer to get a lot of these opportunities. You just call a lender and ask them what programs they have. I was saying they have the buy down, where they can buy down a point up to 2 points of your interest rate. They can help you with that. They can help with the closing costs. So there are plenty of opportunities out there.
What about, well, I know you don't have to be young to not have credit, but what if you don't have the credit?
Well, you do have to have a certain credit score, but if you have the down payment, you can get away with a lower credit score if you have a bigger down payment. For example, I think there's a lender right now that can go as low as what, like 540, something like that, under 600, but it would be a 10% down payment. So there are opportunities there. If you do have a little bigger down payment, you can still do it. There's also lenders, if you are self-employed, that work with just self-employed people, so they don't really base it. You do have to have a decent credit score, but it's more based on money coming in and out of your account. So yeah, and that's another thing to talk to them about if you are self-employed. And when you call us, we have a plethora of lenders that do different things that we can guide you to the right one that's going to do the best for you and your situation.
Good information.
Yeah.
How do global economic factors such as inflation or currency fluctuations impact the housing market in 2024?
Well, once again, it's just about inflation, about what your dollar is worth. So I'm really not an economic expert, so I don't, but the dollar is not worth what it used to be. But of course, we're hoping that changes pretty soon.
What are the current mortgage interest rates and how are they expected to change this year?
Okay, so as of today, get my cheat sheet. Today's rates of 30-year fixed was 7.062, and that was FHA, but it can go as low as 6.625. So it does depend on the lender. The 15-year was 6.5 to 6, depending on the lender. So they're actually not that bad. They were at 6.35 a couple weeks ago, so they've gone up a tad, but they're starting to stabilize, I think.
And you can buy down?
Yeah, and absolutely you can buy down. So when we talk about buying down a point, if your lender gave you a set, they say the lender gave you a 7.062, which is basically a 7, they can buy down to a 6%. That makes a big impact, almost $200 on your monthly note. It's a big difference. Yeah, it is. It's a big difference.
That's some extra groceries.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's see, what are the requirements for obtaining a mortgage in 2024?
Well, first, to be employed at 6 months. Usually you have to be there 6 months. Some lenders require a year, but usually 6 months. Typically the credit score has to be around the 640. Now, we just told you there are ways around that, but typically it's at least a 640. And you, of course, the higher the credit score, the better rates you're going to get, and you want to do that right. But basically, it's being stable in your job. Debt to income, DT, that's what you've heard the term DTI, debt to income. So you don't want to have more debt than you do income. So that's the point. Different programs have different percentage rates of what your DTI can be, but usually they want it less than 45% of your income.
Okay.
All right, go to the next one.
Let's talk about the market still. Is now a good time to buy?
Well, of course, because buying and investing in real estate is one of the best uses of your money. When you rent for a year to 2 years to 3 years, in fact, I do have some clients that I have been talking to for 3 years that are still renting. And 3 years ago, we started talking about this and they were going to wait and wait and wait. Well, they missed the boat on the low interest rate and now we're back to here. But what I told them is 3 years ago, if you would have bought, you would have equity. You have, when you rent, you don't have anything. And I do understand that not everybody can buy, but we can at least put you on the path to buying. We can talk to you and counsel you, get you put with a lender or a credit counselor that can actually give you the path to home ownership. So yeah, it's always a good time to buy.
Yep, that's what is now a good time.
Yeah, and the rate and the prices are not going, they're going to continue to go up. So if you wait 2 years, you're going to be in the same boat, but now the houses are more than they are now. So
right, because they're appreciating.
Right, because houses is one of the only things that does appreciate real estate.
So now is a good time to sell?
Well, absolutely that too, because if you've been in your house for 10 years, I mean, can you imagine the equity? In fact, I talked to a gentleman this morning. I started talking to him a year ago about selling his house not too far from here. And I think at that time it was worth about 455. I talked to him this morning, ran another report for him. It's gone up to 570.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's $130,000 in a year and a half. Actually, about a year and a half ago. So yes, it's especially if you have equity in your home, it is a good time to sell. So that's both. Sorry.
Okay, all right, so,
I think we already talked
yeah,
about
we
that.
talked
Yeah,
about
two of the
mortgage rates
factors,
and inflation and,
employment and
Yeah.
things like that. Of course, all of that has to do with the rates today.
right. Federal Reserve, okay, over the last couple of years, the Fed raised the federal fund rate to try to fight inflation, and as that happened, mortgage rates jumped up too.
Well, I mean, they did, but
Yeah.
everything is based on what the feds do. So, right now, like I said, we're more of an even keel market. It's pretty fair across the board for sellers and buyers, so.
Okay. Let's see, the 10-year Treasury yield. One frequently used government bond benchmark to which mortgage lenders often peg their interest rates is the 10-year Treasury bond yield. So what is that?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I do not know what that is.
That's
That's
up to a lender.
Yeah, actually, we would refer you to a lender on that question right there,
Yeah,
because that's kind of out of our wheelhouse.
right.
Yeah. Okay, this is the silver tsunami. Yeah, we've already kind of talked about this, but basically, yes, the baby boomers are going to start. I mean, I'm close to retirement, honestly, and we do have a decent sized house. I don't know if I'd ever really downsize, but I don't know if I want to stay there forever. So,
Right.
you know. And a lot of people don't. I do have calls every day from people wanting smaller yards or less work, less maintenance, or they just want to move to another town. You know, they want to be closer to their grandchildren or whatever
Right.
it is.
55 and older.
Yeah,
communities.
55 and older communities, which there's a lot of those around here that have popped up. So, yeah.
Why it won't have a huge impact on the housing market in 2024?
Because it hasn't really happened yet. This is, we're talking about in the next 10 years. So, yeah. 2024, I doubt that it's going to. But I think people are starting to think about it, though. I do, yeah.
Okay, so 60% of adults age 65 plus expect to stay in their home as they get older. So I guess you've got the other, what, 40%?
Yeah, you still have 40% that are going to move. And honestly, it really depends. I guess that is a national average, but in this area, I feel like it's more people that would downsize if they could. But I do understand that if you have a house that let's just say 20 years ago, you paid $150,000 for your house, and your house is worth $350 to $400 now. I can see why you wouldn't want to move. I get that, because where else are you going to find a house for $150,000? But your lifestyle changes as you get older. Things change, your needs change, your wants change. So it really just depends on who you talk to. The most people that I've talked to, though, I think they would consider moving if they could find affordable housing and if it could definitely improve their lifestyle.
Right,
Yeah.
right. More time.
Yes, less stress, less upkeep on your homes. Just a lot. There's a lot of factors that go into that.
Demographics are never a tsunami. Clearly, not every baby boomer is planning to sell or move, and even those who do won't do it at all. Well, I guess they won't do it all at once. Instead, it will be mere gradual, and it'll happen, like you said.
Slowly, yeah, within the next 10 years. Nothing good. Everybody's just not going to jump up and sell their house all at once. And it depends on a lot of factors. For me, for example, one of my sons lives in Florida, and that's always been my dream to live in Florida. And I haven't gotten to spend as much time with his kids as I have my other ones that live near me. So yeah, I will probably go to Florida one day for an improved lifestyle. And to me, that would be awesome.
Right.
But not for everybody.
Right. Oh, we've got, we usually have like special events or little promotions, giveaways. This time we're gonna have a Shred It Day. So on April the 27th, I believe it's gonna be here at Southampton.
It will.
And then, Saturday, May the 4th, it'll be up in our Keller Williams Ridge Lake location, I believe.
Now, it will
Or
be
Airline.
at our
Arlington.
our office across the street.
Okay.
We're 5740, and then we have another Keller Williams right across the street, directly across behind the Domino. So it'll be there on Saturday, and it'll be at our Ridge Lake office.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it looks
It's
like,
just-
Saturday.
Oh,
the
two different
27th.
dates, yes.
It'll be at our Ridge Lake and Poplar locations. And then May the 4th, it'll be here across the street at 5847 Getwell Road, and also in Arlington at our Airline Road location.
Yeah, and it's absolutely free. You just bring your stuff and.
Bring your stuff
shred
and
it.
we'll shred it. Okay, and then we're gonna talk about the market.
Okay, yeah, the inventory is still lower than we'd like for it to be, but it's still better than it was, so it's definitely improved. I think, 6 months ago, we were at 800 on the market.
Yes.
We're around 1,500 in the North Mississippi area, so that's definitely better.
Right.
And that's usually, Tate, DeSoto, Marshall, Panola, Benton. I think there's 5 counties involved in that, so. And then, what's the next one? Why is there a slight uptick in the inventory? I think people are just kind of waiting to see if the interest rates stabilize before they do anything. But I think they've come in, I think the sticker shock has worn off, and I think that everybody's kind of understood now that they're probably not going to go below 6.
Right.
So, yeah, we don't want them up around 8, of course, but I think they're pretty steady right now and holding.
Yes. And we've already talked about new construction.
Yeah, the builders are giving some really good incentives on the new
Right.
construction. Yeah,
There's a bunch of new
there's a
construction.
lot of them.
Lot of
Lots
subdivisions
of stuff.
popping up, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, we have an open house?
Yes, well, I don't know which ones we have. I think they're just talking about,
Okay,
what we like to do as, our guru team is we like to list houses on a Thursday, put an open house on Friday and Saturday, and have them under contract by Sunday. That's our goal.
That's right.
But open houses are great. They do give your home exposure. You can kind of knock it out where people can come through at the same time instead of scheduling
Right.
every hour, every other hour. They just come through and look at the house. So we do a lot of open houses.
Yeah, lots of home exposure for
Yes.
you in the very beginning.
Yes, for sure.
Let's see, opportunity, shop current homes, get a feel for the home, I guess.
Yeah, and that's for buyers that go to
Yeah.
open houses. Because once again, location. And I know when I'm looking for houses for somebody, the house might fit their needs perfectly and I might send them to them. But what I always say is drive around the neighborhood, drive over, look at it at different times of the day. And through an open house, you actually get to have exposure to that.
Right.
Beforehand, because you might go, you know what, this is just not the subdivision for me. I love the house, but I don't like the area. And you would know that if you did the open house. So you get a feel for the home, you get to actually walk through it. So.
All right. Watch out for, I guess, where's that
I
open
think,
house this weekend? I think I've got it in here.
I think we've got a couple of them.
Is that Mina
It's
and,
me and Robert.
Robert? They're gonna have an open house
I don't actually
this
know.
Saturday. Let's see.
Oh, okay, yeah,
127 Deerfield Trace.
in Coldwater.
We'll have to look at that, make sure,
Yeah.
we'll verify.
And then on our website,
Right.
we always post our open houses on there, so.
Yes.
And you can call up here at any time. We've got Teresa, she's our front desk girl, and she will be glad to tell you all the open houses that we have if you just want to make them.
All right, and the number is 662-892-4077.
And I think that's
And I
it.
think that's it.
And I'm
Glad to be
here.
here.
Bye.
Bye.